and we scored 6 goals. Can you believe that, Nobbin? It's unbelievable.
It's like the glory days. We've got our club back. I mean, we didn't leave, but you know.
We've got our club back. Fucking hell. Someone will probably clip you up now and put that online.
It's a joke, guys. It's a joke.
Just
chill,
a joke,
chill,
guys.
chill, chill. Calm down.
Yeah, we did score 6 goals, man. Nice.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And obviously the title, Haaland x De Bruyne, you know, they were on fire last night. They really, really were. We're going to get into all this detail, guys. About the starting 11, obviously, I was kind of shocked at the starting 11. We'll speak about Haaland and KDB link up. We'll speak about Jack Grealish being injured for the foreseeable. We don't know how long that's going to be. I guess we'll find out probably tonight, maybe tomorrow. We'll find out. But there's lots to get into. But we have to speak. We have to speak about Erling Haaland. 5 goals yesterday, which is simply stunning. My understanding is the record for FA Cup proper, because you have to get into the whole the depth is 6 goals, which was it George Best? I think it was. Was it George Best? I think it was George Best. And then I think that's right. Maybe someone can fact check that. And then the other one, if you go before the FA Cup proper and go into the qualifying games, you'll find Billy Minter, who scored 7 goals in 1922 in the 4th round qualifying.
That's a great name, by the way, Billy
It's
Minter.
A fantastic name, yeah. A record that stood for over 100 years. So he didn't quite get the record, but he looked yesterday. I said yesterday during the watch along, I'm sure you've seen it too. He was playing with a smile on his face. Yeah, because the last couple of games he's looked a bit down, a little bit dejected. Obviously, he had the news that his grandmother passed away, and clearly that that would affect anyone. And I've seen a couple of comments from people saying that doesn't affect professional athletes. Come on, man. I think it affects anyone, to be honest with you, when a family member dies. And you can see that yesterday he was playing with a smile on his face. He was running everywhere. The runs that he was making were fantastic. He was getting that service from Kevin De Bruyne, which probably makes him make even more runs because he's not just running for running's sake. And then his finishing was top notch as well.
Yeah, and obviously people are going to talk about the 5 goals and the brilliant finishing, which is totally, totally understand. And it was fantastic. His finishing has come under fire this season. He's still technically underperforming on his expected goals, even with that performance yesterday. But actually, I was most impressed with his passing work and his hold-up play and his link-up play, which has clearly gone up several levels compared to last season. I actually think that Haaland, yes, he's not finishing as well as last season, obviously, but I actually think his overall game has significantly improved. And I'd even make an argument that he's actually playing better than last season in terms of an overall forward. He's becoming very complete very quickly. Like there was like a ball yesterday where he picks up on like the right wing, right half space, whatever, and it's a perfectly weighted pass through the defender's legs into Kevin De Bruyne, and it's a great save by Karl. We've seen it in recent games. We saw it against Everton as well. Saw it against Bournemouth. Obviously, we saw it against Arsenal last season in particular, where he just popped the ball up to him, and he's not just this meat shield who just like holds it up, and lumps it. He's actually got a very underrated first touch, and as I say, his playmaking has definitely gone up a level. That's actually what I've been most pleased about recently with Haaland.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't say say the same as you that was the most thing I was impressed with. I would say the 5 goals.
I'm a nerd, so I like to look for these little things. But yeah, obviously 5 goals is 5 goals. But you see the points I'm making. Yeah.
No, I'm only playing. No, listen, I completely agree. I said that again in my play ratings last night that Erling Haaland yesterday, his link-up play was great. He put a ball in behind for, was it De Bruyne, who really should have done better when he shot straight at the goalkeeper. He was dropping deep. He's definitely improved that side of the game, and it's no real surprise because if we think of someone else who come to the football club who was great in their position but wasn't particularly great on the football but has now improved. Any guesses?
Wasn't great. Sorry, repeat that.
I was saying it's no surprise that Erling Haaland's link-up play has improved because there's another player that the football club who come in for a different position, who was great in their position, but now has massively improved their build-up play and their play on the ball. Any guesses who?
Manu Akanji.
I was thinking more Nathan Ake, but we'll take Akanji.
No, yeah, no, that works too. Yeah.
Oh, he's right. The point I'm making is it's no surprise that his game has improved, because obviously when you come into this side, first of all, I think when you come into this team, you are forced to improve anyway, because it's sort of like sink or swim. If you don't improve and you're not good enough on the ball, then you ain't gonna make it, bro. You know what I mean? But also, if you're just training with like Rodri every day, with Kevin De Bruyne every day, with Phil Foden every day, with John Stones every day, yeah, Jack Grealish every day, you are likely to improve your play. And I think something that people forget about Erling Haaland is that he's not this like 30-year-old. You know what I mean? It's not like where he's probably past the age now where he's going to really learn anything new or improve his game, or maybe like it's just about refining his game. No. He's still very young. He's still going to take on loads and loads of information and be able to improve his game. Yeah, he's 23. He's still going to be able to improve his game. You know what I mean? But the fact is, he's got the basics of his job is to put the ball in the back of the net, and he's got that down to a T. But I agree. I think his build-up play has improved. I don't think it's ever going to be as good as the likes of Harry Kane or whatever. But who cares?
No.
When he's
it doesn't need to be fair.
Oh, it doesn't need to be. When he's whacking in 50 goals a season, you know what I mean? And this year, despite missing, 2 months, whatever, through injury, I mean, I was looking last night, he's probably going to get 42, 43, 44 goals this year. And by the way, that's with a 2-month injury and no Kevin De Bruyne for the first 5-6 months. That's arguably more impressive than last season.
And also in a season where he's actually, his finishing's come under fire and has come into question. He's still able to get this outrageous amount of goals. Yeah, it's brilliant. And hopefully this is like a sign of things to come. He didn't have a great finishing performance against Bournemouth. I know it's only Luton, which I don't agree with, because Luton are quite a decent size. But is that now going to give him the confidence to in the next Premier League games to bag those chances and to probably go right? I'm now back. So. I mean, I never left, but I'm now properly back, and go from strength to strength in the business end of the season. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, I think so. I think players like that, I wouldn't say he's a confidence player. I'd say he's a momentum player.
I think that's
because I don't think confidence is.
accurate.
You think he cares about confidence, bro? Like this guy laughed when he missed an open net against Liverpool in the Community Shield. This guy don't give a fuck about confidence. He's a momentum player, and we've seen that last year. Once he gets going, bang, he's gone. Yeah, and obviously he got 5 yesterday. He was playing with a smile on his face. I'd also say as well, if you forget the goals, forget the build-up play. I don't know if you agree with me, but since he's come back from his injury, I think yesterday he looked his most fittest. Like the way he was moving on the pitch, his runs that he was making, he didn't look slow. He didn't look slow off the mark. He looked sharp. That's the sharpest I'm going to start using sharpest instead of fittest, because I don't like that word. I mean, he looked the sharpest he's looked since coming back from injury yesterday as well, as did John Stones, in my opinion, as well. So listen, things are clearly going in a good way. Haaland is now on. How many goals is he on now for the season? Do you know off the top of your head?
I would say that he is on 27.
Yes, he is. 27 goals in 30 games, which is quite remarkable for a player that's having a bad season. He's also got 6 assists there as well. But I like to believe now that Erling Haaland is going to kick on and put a little bit of a run together. And when I say he's going to kick on, it sounds weird because that you only really say that about players that haven't had a great season. But he scored 27 goals. Yeah. He's going to get to 40 goals easy. And like I say, maybe 43, 44, 45 at a push. Don't think he's going to get back to 50 goals, but he'll certainly get close. So, yeah, listen, it's fantastic. Let us know in the chat what your thoughts are on Erling Haaland. Let us know in the comments down below if you're watching this back on the replay, because I think hopefully if we can keep him fit now to the end of the season, I think he's going to go Super Saiyan mode. Big up to Anakin with the super chat. Says, yes, lads, just passed my car theory test at buzzing. Says Anakin
Excellent
with the
work.
2. I failed that 3 times.
Did you?
Bro, do you know the video bit of the fucking test?
Yeah, the hazard perception.
Yeah, I was just like, I just kept on failing it. I was like, what the fuck, man? But it's a hack, It don't work properly, that, Because, if you click slightly too early on the hazard, it doesn't class as points. And you know what they say? They say, don't click more than once. And then I got the official DVD, yeah, because obviously this was back in the day when you had DVDs in your computer. And I'd done the test, I'd done a mock test. And then at the end when I was reviewing, obviously, say someone's about to step out in the road and I click, but then the actual points system doesn't start until a millisecond after. I won't get no points. It'll act like I've missed the thing. So anyway, I hacked it in the end. You know what I did? I started clicking, and then 3 seconds later, I'd click again to make sure I'd get the points. The whole thing's a joke, man, to be honest with you. That for me, that theory test, yeah, that's just a money grab, Brit. Focus on the actual test, right? Because I'm not being funny, yeah? You driving a car is not the same as me sitting here on a PC, yeah, with a bottle of water, a vape in one hand, and clicking when some old woman stands in the road or whatever, yeah? So there you go.
I'd love to say I could relate, but I got full marks in my theory. I'm sorry.
Teacher's pet, Bray.
I think you're just a bit clapped. I'll be real.
I'll be real. Big up to LB, says Akanji was a bulldozer. Man's strong. Akanji's been our best defender this season. I know people are trying to say Ake is. I disagree. I think Ake's close. But for me, over the full course of the season, Akanji's been our best defender.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Obviously, I think Stone's our best defender, but you can't say him because he's just not played enough games. Yeah, Akanji has. It's also the versatility as well. He's been brilliant at centre back, at left back, at right back. I know that we've criticised him when he's played in the John Stones role, but against the lesser sides, he's even done a good job there as well. And it's obviously not like a position or a role that he wants to do, really.
Yeah.
But he's still putting a decent shift. Yeah, Akanji's been class, and he was brilliant for that first goal as well. Like, it was his drive which led to the goal ultimately. He's been fantastic. It was very reminiscent of the Champions League final drive that he did as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was nice build-up play. Let's speak about Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, first of all, yeah. This is not normal. This is not normal, man. 12 assists in 600 minutes. 12 assists in 600 minutes.
Objectively, in the modern era, Kevin De Bruyne is only behind Messi in terms of playmakers. He's the second greatest playmaker in football history, realistically.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not hyperbole. That's just like a statistical fact as well. Also, we can use our eyes.
Yeah. No, listen, this guy, man. Oh my days. Oh my God. I feel embarrassed. Nobbins. You know why?
Tell me more.
Because last week when the news about the Saudi Arabia thing about Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh right, yeah.
For around about 60 seconds. I considered whether or not that'd be the right thing to do.
Oh,
yeah!
Shame. I need a bell.
It was only for around 60 seconds, and then Nary Men in the chat put in the chat, LB, you always talk about accountancy and not to support the books and to support football
that is
club.
60
and I was like,
seconds too long, you treacherous dog.
And listen, guilty as charged, Bray.
I want shame in the chat. I want bells and shame in the chat.
Lock me up. I'm guilty as charged, man. I'll go prison. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Prison B will be there. But yeah. Honestly, it was. And then yesterday, I mean, that performance was unbelievable. And in fact, if you think about it, that's kind of what we tried to do in the Brentford away game, I believe it was, where we tried to play all those balls forward. But I don't think Brentford pushed high up the pitch enough for us to have as much success. But listen, if teams, I mean, in one way, it's great to see, but if there were any teams now that were going to consider pushing up the pitch and playing like aggressive football against us, I mean, you just cannot do that with Kevin De Bruyne in the team, can you?
It's, as much as like it was, you couldn't say it's brave, bold, what Luton did, it was incredibly naive and borderline stupid, when it kept happening over and over again. To go man for man on Haaland in itself is an insane strategy, incredibly risky, because he will nearly always roll his defender. But then to go that high up the pitch and be baited into our tactics, and then to just leave us with the two best, you could say the best direct midfielder in the world in De Bruyne, and maybe even and the best direct striker in the world in Haaland. It's suicidal. Is what it was. It was great for us to watch, and we barely ever get to see it because most of the time, as you mentioned with Brentford, teams will just camp and not give us that much space. So it's good to know that if we are in that circumstance, that's another string to our bow that, we haven't lost. It's still there, clearly. And it'll be obviously a warning sign to other teams that if you try to push for an equaliser, let's say, we can always hit you like that because we are a very good counter-attacking team. You just never get to see us play like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I almost felt like he was playing for Dortmund, Haaland, with some of the runs and obviously some of the balls that were being played in behind. And it's very rare that he sort of has those type of shots. It's usually stood on the edge of the 6-yard area waiting for the ball to come in, and he's got to put the ball in the back of the net. But no, it was great stuff yesterday. And you know what, as well, I know it's the FA Cup and it's not the league. But I really think we needed something like that. I really do, because, you know, we're going into a tough period now. We all know the fixtures: United, Liverpool, Arsenal, plus an FA Cup game in there as well, which we'll find out tonight, by the way. You know, and you know, in terms of our results, we should be hella confident going into these games. You know, we've not lost a game since Villa. You know what I mean? I think our record's something stupid, like 15-17 or something like that. Like, our record is very, very good. But of course, there is that little bit of, before last night, and maybe to a certain degree still, there is that little bit of, well, we're not playing well. You know, defense isn't great. You know, our attack's not scoring goals. So last night we really, really did need a good performance, and we got 6 goals, which was a huge boost, and it should give the players some confidence. It should give us as fans some confidence. Listen, I don't know if we're ever going to get this defense playing like a top notch. They were, you know, maybe slightly unlucky yesterday with the 2 goals. You know what I mean? Like, obviously the first one is just a madness, and then the second one, Ortega, you know, makes a mistake. Kovacic doesn't clear his lines, and again, it's another pretty good finish. But yeah, I just think we needed that, Nobbins. You know, going into this game at the weekend, listen, we should be battering United anyway, but now we can go into that game now with full confidence that we can put some goals past United.
Yeah, and I think, like, we were chatting about it on the most recent LBIns show. We were both like saying how the United game has got to be a springboard to take us into, you know, the really tricky run that's coming up. And like, maybe again, people will point to the fact it's the FA Cup. They'll point to the fact it's Luton. They'll point to the tactics. That's fine, but at the same time, scoring 6 goals is still scoring 6 goals, and this in itself can still be a great springboard. Also, we didn't even feature Rodri or Foden. I think that basically everyone would say those have been our 2 best players across the course of this season. And again, it's only Luton, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, we did look exceptional, and we were able to score 6. And Haaland, who's not had a good finishing season, scored 5. It is the perfect opportunity, the perfect momentum builder, and it's something that we really need to impress upon United in the game on Sunday. I want to see a win isn't good enough for me. I think we've got to not only beat them, but beat them well. To continue this momentum, and again, to remind Liverpool and Arsenal, and you're winning with impressive margins, but don't forget, we haven't gone anywhere. This is still our title at the end of the day that we're trying to defend. I think we've got to send a message, to be honest.
So can I just clarify something, what you mean there? When you say we need to win well, are you saying that because it's more of a statement, or are you saying that because of the goal difference?
Both. Definitely both. It's for our own mentality. I think it's for our rivals' mentalities, just so that we haven't gone anywhere. You know, we are still City at the end of the day. And as you say, from a practical perspective, our goal difference is cheeks compared to Liverpool and Arsenal. Like, it's 6. We are 6 worse off than Arsenal, 5 worse off than Liverpool. This is like a stat I always talk about. 75% of the time, the team with the best goal difference wins the Premier League title. That is based on historical from 92-93. It's not just an extra point. It's actually more than that. It's obviously an indicator of quality. Yeah. Which makes sense, because if you score the most goals and can see the fewest, you're obviously going to be the best team in general. So yeah, numerous reasons why, and also it's a derby. I want us to batter them.
Yeah. No. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we should be, and I think most United fans accept this. I mean, I've seen Saeed's video last night. I mean, the guy's running scared, bruh. You know what I mean? The guy's running scared. United fans are running scared. And listen, rightly so. You know, their club is in the mud at the moment. They just got beat off Fulham. And you know, they're playing City, who've just whacked 6 past Luton. And people will say Luton. But at the end of the day, you know, you don't need to be, like, proper, like, knowledgeable about football to see that what you seen last night between Haaland and De Bruyne was scary, man. Do you know what I mean? They ripped them apart. Now, of course, it's going to be a different game against Man United. Man United are not going to play as open and attacking as Luton. And, of course, Luton Town, by the way, would they have played like that if it was a league game? Probably not. You know, they had some freedom to go out there and just see what happened. But United are probably going to sit back and be much more defensive and try and frustrate Manchester City, which is kind of funny, actually, because if you think about it, they kind of need to win the match themselves if they've got ambitions at the top 4. A draw is not particularly great. I mean, we're running out of matches here. You know, I've said this before, but these games, we've got 12 games left. Before you know it, we'll have 8 games left, and by that point, you know, you really
The margin for error doesn't exist. We
Well,
had our
exactly.
margin for error in the period where we lost against Villa and drew against Spurs and drew against Chelsea and drew against Liverpool and drew against Palace. That was our margin for error for the whole season dried up. We've got to be basically perfect from now on. Liverpool, Arsenal results aside.
No, completely agree. And if you look at Aston Villa, who are currently sitting in fourth, they're 8 points ahead of Man United. They've got Luton this weekend, so you'd expect Aston Villa to win that. And Tottenham have got Crystal Palace at home. You'd expect them to win that. Now, if both of those teams win, Tottenham go to 50. United will be 6 points behind Tottenham. And by the way, Tottenham have a game in hand on United as well. So they'll be 6 points behind Tottenham. Yeah, because obviously there's that fifth spot that's going around. But Tottenham will have a game in hand. United can't really afford to take a draw. So it will be interesting to see what Ten Hag does. Of course, it is going to be a completely different game. We're not going to have that much space. But alternatively, like, you just have no idea what Ten Hag's going to do in that match. You know what I mean? The guy's just a buffoon, man. He could just completely play attacking football and leave gaps in behind. I don't know what he's going to do, but it will seriously be interesting to see what we can do. Big up to Mohammed with a super chat. Says Haaland link-up players improved tremendously. Yeah, that 100%. 100%. Like I say, good to see. I just think he needed to improve it ever so slightly to get to an okay level. Like I say, he's never going to be at Kane level. You know what I mean? Because Kane, you can see, he's more a natural ball player and better at football in terms of just like, kicking the ball around. But if Haaland could get to a point where it's decent, with the fact his movement, his finishing, that's it. He doesn't need to get to Kane level, effectively, is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
There are a couple of other things that I wanted to speak about last night in particular. We didn't play with Rodri, typically not been great without Rodri. I think the stat that was going around was without Rodri, we've got a 50% win ratio compared to when he is in there. It's like 67, 70%, which is quite a big difference, really. You know what I mean? It's effectively, it's a flip of a coin without Rodri. Kovacic was the one that sort of played a more deeper position. I'll tell you my thing, because I kind of, not everyone, there was some sort of different opinions flying around in my player ratings last night, but I didn't think he was particularly great in that DM position. I didn't think he moved quick enough to cover the ground. And I thought he was a little bit sloppy at times. What was your take on Kovacic? I thought he had a good game, by the way. I just don't think he's our long-term backup option for Rodri, is effectively what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. We definitely need to address that in the transfer window. We need an 8 who can play 6 as well. We need Gundogan. I did think that was his best game without Rodri this season. Every other game without Rodri this season, I think he's been bad. To be honest, I think of Wolves, terrible. At the Emirates, should have got sent off. Against Aston Villa, did he even play? I can't remember. Maybe he was injured. But basically, every single time he's not been able to play with Rodri, he's played badly. So to see him have a good game without Rodri was really nice. It was really good to see. I definitely take your comments on, off the ball, maybe not ideal, it never is going to be, because he's not a defensive midfielder at the end of the day. But on the ball, in respect to control, dropping deep, allowing us to play that more direct transitional football, I thought it was really valuable to the team. He definitely offers a composure and a calmness compared to some of our other midfielders in that position. I thought it was one of our better players against Bournemouth, for example. There's definitely a place for him in this squad. He scored a fantastic goal. If he can add goals to his game and, output and assists, then we are talking about, a much more closer to a Gundogan replacement. I think that in this stage in his career, it's unlikely, but hey, we can live in hope. Yeah, I thought he was good on the ball, as you say, not ideal off it, but he's never going to be ideal off it. But the main thing was we've given Rodri a full rest, and that's going to be at a premium from now on. Maybe at home against Copenhagen, he'll rest him, maybe. But outside of that, it's pretty slim pickings in terms of proper rest for Rodri.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because obviously, this is one of the things that we all agree with, in the City fan base, that like we need to sort that out. And of course, there's rumours about Kimmich. And big up to the chat for letting me know about this. This is just coming out in the last few moments. Manchester City scouts are set to be present at Sporting versus Benfica on Thursday. This is interesting. You see James there down below. I don't know if he's in the chat. This guy, James JMC official, this kid with 6 likes.
Shout out, James.
Yeah, João Neves is obviously a player that City have been linked with a few times. Young player at Benfica, big release clause. Apparently, if the rumours are true, Tiki is a massive, massive fan of João Neves. Now, he's quite an interesting little player because he's quite small in terms of like his physicality, but he gets stuck in. Like he likes to get stuck in from what I've seen. So that will be interesting. But yeah, listen, I thought, just to clarify, I thought Kovacic done okay yesterday. I just didn't think he done good enough for me to be confident that he's our long-term backup
Oh
option
yeah,
in that DM
definitely
position.
another
So
option
I
there. Yeah.
still think that needs to be addressed. My priority and my preference would still be Joshua Kimmich. I think that for me is a deal that, you know, you got the experience, he can play multiple positions, and it doesn't really need to be any bedding in process. If he came to City, I wouldn't really be looking at one of these or give him a year free pass. He's worked with Pep Guardiola before. He's been in the big games, both for Germany and Bayern Munich. You know, he knows what it's all about. So maybe give him a month or so to get used to the Prem, and then it's away you go. You're getting someone like João Neves in. It's going to cost more money than Kimmich, you'd imagine. And then it's like, how long does this guy actually need to be able to play in the Premier League, play under Pep Guardiola? He might need a year, he might need a bit more. So it will be interesting to see what City do this summer in terms of that position. Will we get anyone to start with? Will we go for Kimmich? Will we go for João Neves? Let's wait and see. But yeah, certainly an interesting conversation about that because we definitely need to sort it out because this Rodri thing is wild, isn't it?
Yeah. We've not remedied the loss of Gundogan. This isn't new information. We need someone who isn't just an out and out six, because we've seen with Calvin Phillips that will never work. You will not get enough game time. You will never get enough momentum or sharpness. We need someone who's comfortable in numerous positions, probably as we've discussed, like Gundogan was, comfortable as an 8, comfortable as a 6, whether that's Kimmich, João Neves, Paquetá, who would be my preference.
Big player.
But hey, it makes sense to send scouts because it makes sense that we're interested because we need to keep our options open. You know, when you're doing a transfer shortlist, it's not enough. As we saw trying to get Bellingham and Rice this summer, it's not enough to just have one name because things might go wrong and they might reject you or they might not come. So yeah, we definitely need to keep our options open. I say whether it's Kimmich or Neves or Paquetá or another name, we need at least one option there, 100%.
Yeah, no, definitely. It'll be interesting to see what we do this summer in that position. Some sad news, some disappointing news that came yesterday. Really, the only disappointing news that came yesterday was that Jack Grealish felt his groin again.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing because that's probably going to be another 2 weeks out now. You know what I mean? I think, will he be available for the Anfield game? Hopefully, but you know that's effectively 2 weeks. So we'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, a little bit. I was surprised really that he was in the starting 11. I personally wouldn't have started him. I would have maybe give him 10, 15 minutes at the end. But Pep went to start him, maybe trying to force minutes into his legs to really get him up to speed for the United game. A risk. And if it would have paid off, great news, but it was a risk and it backfired, bro. Grealish, you've seen how distraught he was as well. You know, he's had a tough year. A real tough year.
Yeah, and it's like it's not his fault basically for the entirety of it. I was obviously not as distraught as Grealish when he got injured, but I basically ruined my enjoyment of the game when he went off. Even though we obviously scored lots of goals and it was lovely to watch and the performance was great, all I could think about was, oh, no Jack Grealish for Anfield, no Jack Grealish for the Derby, no Grealish for Arsenal. He was one of our most important players last season in those biggest games. I think his performances against Bayern Munich at Old Trafford, scored a goal at the Emirates. I think he scored a goal, or at least scored at home against Arsenal. In the biggest games, he was one of our better performers. To be honest, even against Spurs in the loss, got Romero sent off. He's priceless in those moments, and he's had a bad season through no fault of his own because he comes back, we look brilliant, injured. Comes back, we look brilliant, injured. And it's such a shame. You've got to trust the medical department. You've got to assume that they knew what they were doing. Obviously, he said he was fine, but it's aggravated it. Unlikely he'll be available for those massive games. If he can be available, brilliant. I guess the not silver lining, but the sort of like little ray of hope is that Nunes on the left is potentially a brilliant option there. Looked very good out wide against Bournemouth. similar situation against Luton. And I'm sort of erring more towards having Nunes start in the upcoming big games on that left-hand side, because he can, not to the same extent as Grealish, but he can replicate a lot of what Grealish offers in terms of the ball carrying, in terms of the driving forwards, in terms of being a midfielder out on the wing, in terms of being calm and composed on the ball. Obviously not to the same level, but certainly compared to our other options there. That's why I would personally probably start Nunes now
Yeah, well, that's
in those
obviously
bigger
going to.
games.
Yeah. That's obviously going to be the big question. Mukesh, he has his sale with the 6 months. Big up Mukesh, man. Says this all midfielder attack is so smooth. One touch play gets the best of Haaland. Nunes left wing versus United, please. So Mukesh is going for United. Big up for the 6 months, bro. And LB with a super chat says, like Maris said, the game's the game. Part of football, says LB. Bro, that clip is hilarious when he says that, you know. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's
I
actually
have. He's just being real. It's just being real. He's keeping it real.
yeah. Also, have you downloaded RM26?
I saw the clip, but I actually don't know what it is.
What you mean, man? You not downloaded RM26?
What is it, first of all?
Respect the GOAT, man.
Yeah, but what is it? You can't just say download this. It might be malware. It might be a Trojan virus. I don't know what it is.
You telling me that you've not downloaded our greatest players app?
You tell me what the app is, and I will consider it.
It's called RM26.
Right, amazing. That's the name of it. What is it?
It's a Riyad Mahrez app, social media, contests. You've got the opportunity to speak to Riyad Mahrez.
Okay. How?
How you can speak to Riyad Mahrez?
Yeah.
Like, you got to ask him a question, and the most original idea, like gets him to ask him.
So it's his own personal social media platform.
Yeah, basically, he's challenging Elon Musk. But here's the thing: it's only for Riyad Mahrez. Hence RM26. So yeah, get on that, man. Big up, and support him. Because
yeah, he needs the support, doesn't he?
He does need the support, bro. I mean, he'll get the support from me anyway. Yeah, the left wing scenario thing is quite interesting, and you know what's kind of crazy? Yeah, is how many people just like shit on our own players. Like, I was on social media last night, and some of the comments that City fans were making about our own players is wild. Like, listen, you don't have to particularly like a player, or
who specifically.
Both Doku and Nunes. They both get shit on a lot.
Yeah. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Nunes in big games. I've made that very clear, but that's not the same as he's useless or he's not a decent squad player or he shouldn't be starting in certain games. In certain games, he should start. If we come up against a low block team, Doku's the best option. But if there's like a bigger game, you should probably have him on the bench, and then you can bring him on if you need to change the game. It was like, at the start of the season when it was, Doku versus Grealish, and it became really tribal. It's not one or the other, guys. We have different players for different tasks and teams.
Yeah, so here's my opinion, right? It's early days, right? So, but if I change my mind, before the match on Sunday, don't do one of these gotcha. Oh, well, B, you said this on Wednesday. No. I'm just giving you my opinion now. But obviously, I'm going to speak to Nobbins. I'm going to speak to a lot of other people, City fans, non-City fans. I'll speak to United fans. I'll speak to you guys in the chat. I might change my mind. So here's my early thought. My early thought is I'm going closer to Matheus Nunes. And the reason why I'm going to Matheus Nunes, and I think you kind of hinted on it and touched on it a little bit before, is I don't think that Doku in this game is what we need. I think we need someone who's better at keeping the ball, right? So, by the way, you could throw Oscar Bobbins into this equation, but I'll come into that in a second. When I look at Grealish, when I look at Nunes playing on the wing, he kind of reminds me of, this is very simplistic, but he kind of reminds me of like a not quite as hold up as Grealish, right? But more hold up than Doku, but not quite as attacking and spam take-ons as Doku, but more than Grealish. He looks kind of like a hybrid of the two. So I just think in this particular game, and essentially in all three of these games, by the way, not just this weekend. And this is me talking about United, Liverpool, and Arsenal, provided Jack Grealish isn't back. I'm aiming more towards Nunes. If I'm not going Nunes, I think I'm aiming more towards Oscar Bob than Doku.
Yes.
Doesn't mean I don't like Doku. I really like Doku.
And can I just clarify? We're talking about like crunch time in the biggest games, aren't we? So, for example, Anfield, Arsenal, United.
Yeah.
That's specifically what we're talking about, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The reason I'm not going Phil Foden, guys, it's a great question. The reason I'm not going Phil Foden is because, in my opinion, Phil Foden needs to be played in the middle.
Yes.
Phil Foden needs to play in the middle. The only game that I would consider moving Phil Foden onto the wing would be Liverpool for Bernardo Silva. That's the only game I would possibly consider moving Phil Foden from the middle to the wing, would be Liverpool, Anfield, get Bernardo Silva in the middle. For Arsenal, for Man United, I've got to play Phil Foden in the middle. So that means I've got to play Oscar Bob or Nunes on the left. Now, listen, if you want to go Doku, no problemo. I personally don't think that's the right approach. Again, don't mean I don't like Doku. It just means this isn't the game for him, in my opinion. I'm going Nunes left wing, Bob left wing, second place, Doku left wing, third place. That's what I would do.
I'm in agreement.
Yeah. And people might say, why Nunes over Bob? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Two, well, I'm not starting at one. I'm skipping the reason. One,
you're so excited.
Yeah, I am excited. The number one reason is he's still pretty inexperienced, Oscar Bob. Throwing him into a game against United at home. Listen, if you want to do it, then fair dues, do it. It's not really the way I would operate. I would put someone with a bit more experience. And two, I kind of want someone with a little bit more take on drive than Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob's a very, very good retention player. Maybe against a team like Arsenal or Liverpool, maybe actually he might be more suited to that, where possession's more at a premium. You got to ask yourself, is possession going to be at a premium against Man United this Sunday? I would say probably not. Is possession going to be maybe a premium against Liverpool at Anfield? Possibly. So maybe you will go Doku. Maybe you will go Bob because he's better ball retention than Nunes. Now, you throw him into Anfield, that's a different question. Same with Arsenal at home. Possession probably will be more of a premium at Arsenal than it will be Man United. So again, you might want to go Bob for Arsenal. But for United, I would go Nunes. I think he offers us that balance of ball retention. He offers us that balance of taking players on. And I think actually, I've got to say it, I think a lot of City fans are disrespecting Nunes a little bit because I think he's been putting in decent performances. I'm not saying he's been putting in world-class performances, but I am quite bemused at some of the comments I'm reading. Of course, listen, people have got the right to their own opinion. I'm going to sit here and say you should think this. You do what you want. If you don't like Nunes, no problem. But like some of the comments that I've read, I've been like, bro, I think that's like out of order. Some of the stuff that like people have been saying he's shit. People have been saying this, that. I'm like,
yeah, that's just wrong.
I just don't agree. Like, you don't have to like the player. You don't have to think he's great. But like some of the comments I've read, I've been like, come on, man, that's way too much.
Yeah, it's a sort of like story of the season, isn't it? Like we've talked about, the weird criticism that like Gvardiol's been getting in some games, and I'm like, are we watching the same player? Because I thought he played quite well in that game, and it's like Nunes as well. Sure, he's been bad in some games, but the main reason he has been bad in some games, for example, the Everton game, is because he was being asked to play a position which would only work for his skill set if he was given a lot of space. And we were never going to get a lot of space against Everton. Conversely, against Luton, we get a lot of space and he plays well out wide as well. So, yeah, I don't really understand where the over criticism comes from. Sure, you can be critical. You can say, is he starting player quality if everyone's fit? No, but that's not the same as he's not a player who can help us maintain our levels. That's not the same as he's not a player who isn't going to be useful or valuable to the squad, because he definitely is. And in a way that I never would have even conceived a potential Jack Grealish alternative with Grealish's injury. I never would have thought that was a thing. And yet here we are, and it actually might be a potential solution to the Grealish injury. Yeah.
And I'll just remind people, like Grealish is out. Like we have to make a call. Like and it's what you want to do. You want to go Doku, no problem. go for that. But yeah, listen, we're in a good place right now. And yeah, we need to take that into our league form and maybe just be a little bit more convincing in the league. But we'll see how we get on this weekend. Milton Mukesh says, watch Pep play Alvarez midfield and Foden left wing.
I'd like to think that we've gone past that point now. The past performances without him in midfield surely demonstrate that. This has been our most fluid all season. Yeah. And it just so happens that it's when we don't have a striker in midfield. Well, it's not a coincidence, obviously. That's what happens when you play midfielders in midfield.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. The FA Cup draw is going to be tonight before the games. So we'll know who we're going to get before tonight's matches. These are the teams that are left in. And it might just be worth reminding yourselves, guys, that this match will be played the weekend of just before the international break. So the Brighton game has now been postponed, moved, delayed. Where the Brighton game is, that's now going to be an FA Cup game, which is why, of course, we've been confident that Rodri's now going to play United, Liverpool, Arsenal, because Brighton's got moved. These are the teams left in the competition. Of course, there are a couple of teams that have not played. Obviously, they're going to be playing tonight. I tell you what I want.
Tell me.
I want Liverpool at home.
Crazy.
Can I explain why?
No.
Okay.
Yes, of course you can.
The reason I want Liverpool at home, right, is because if you look at our FA Cup elimination
record,
record, we got knocked out in the semi-final of the FA Cup, I believe 3 years on the bounce. Right. And I'm pretty sure if I actually have a look at it, so 2020, we won it in 19, 2020 semi-final, got beat off Arsenal, got beat off Chelsea, got beat off Liverpool in the semi-final. 3 years in a row.
Sure.
Those semi-finals coincide with the Champions League, right? I don't want to be playing Liverpool in that semi-final because if we play Liverpool in that semi-final, and we've got a big Champions League clash, they've not got a Champions League clash. They got Europa League clash. Now, maybe if they get someone like a Bayer Leverkusen, it evens itself out. But the odds are they're going to get a team that they don't really have to worry too much about. The odds, Whereas we're probably going to get a mad team like a Real Madrid or someone like that, I want Liverpool at home because I'd rather play them now, hopefully get them out of the competition. And then when we're through to the semi-final, provided we beat Liverpool, there's a couple of teams on there that really don't want to play the semi-final, like maybe Newcastle on the day, Chelsea, we seemingly can't beat at the moment, and Aston Villa. Are they still in it, Aston Villa? Oh, they got knocked out?
No.
Oh, they got knocked out. I thought I saw them in the thing. Okay, so maybe just Newcastle and Chelsea, But if you get Liverpool in the semi-final of the FA Cup with the Champions League, I'm just like, bruh. I mean, that's going to be difficult, man. So I want Liverpool at home.
No, I like the logic. I could twist that on its head, though. I could maybe say we don't draw Liverpool in the semi-final and they get knocked out before meeting them, potentially. So
what do you mean, like tonight against Southampton?
Well, that or they draw someone else in the quarterfinal and get, let's say they draw Chelsea at Stamford Bridge and get knocked out or whatever.
Yeah, the problem is, Nobbins, though, like City and Liverpool are just better than everyone else on this list.
So are you basically saying that only City can knock out Liverpool and maybe vice versa?
I'm not saying only,
but most likely.
But like, if you're playing the odds game, you know what I mean? Even if you throw Newcastle up against Liverpool, difficult game for Liverpool. But the chances are Liverpool are still going to win that match. If you throw Liverpool up against Chelsea, odds are Liverpool are still going to win the match. Who else? United. They'll smack United. Realistically, what I'm saying is the only team there that can go into the game against Liverpool and probably be favourites is City. So I'd rather get them at home in the quarterfinal and hopefully knock them out.
Yeah. No, I totally appreciate that. I don't want them just because there's always a risk that we might have to go to Anfield, and that's a thing. Obviously, I want a home game. I would much prefer to, if we have to play Liverpool, and we live in this like hypothetical situation, I'd rather like get them in like a final or something, because then the season's over and you can like chill out. Yeah, exactly, and exactly, and it will be a sour note in Klopp's farewell tour, and Guardiola will dip his
Bro,
nuts.
the final.
He'll dip his nutsack into the Klopp fairy tale. That's what he'll do.
Imagine they beat us in a final, mate,
Don't
with
worry about it.
Klopp in his
It
last
won't happen.
season.
It won't happen. Don't worry about it. I would much rather we get a mid-table team like, Wolves or a Man United in the quarterfinal at home, and we can like batter them. And there we go. Coventry semi-final, and Liverpool will, they'll get knocked out by Leicester in the semi-final, and then we'll play. I don't know. Wolves in the final. That's the storyline. That's what's happening.
Respect Wolves, man. My second team this year. But yeah, listen.
I said they're getting to the final. I gave them the utmost respect just then.
Did they win the final?
Well, we're in the final. So what do you think? in Nobbins' scenario.
Yeah, but listen, I'm saying I want Liverpool at home.
No, that's fine. I appreciate that. What fixtures does the FA Cup quarter final fall around? Do we know?
Yeah, I get it now. FA Cup.
Because if it's sandwiched in between some really tricky Premier League games,
the semi-final, sorry, or the quarter-final.
The quarters.
Oh, so the next game.
Yeah.
It's after Liverpool in away, and obviously then it's international break, so it's after Liverpool.
And just before. Oh, okay. So it's at quite a nice time then.
Yeah, it's in between Liverpool and Arsenal, but obviously, yeah, I've got it here.
But there's a break.
It's in between, yeah, but there's a break here, so it's after Liverpool. This game is now the FA Cup game, but then obviously this is an international break. That's an international break. So
okay,
that's why like I'm kind of chill on taking Liverpool there, because it's not like
let's do it then. No, you have convinced me. You've convinced me. I want Liverpool at home as well for that. Yes, I like your logic.
Yeah, just to be clear as well, the worst game that we could get is Liverpool away.
Yes, exactly. That is but if we can pick and choose, then I'm fine with that logic. Yeah, that's chill. That's chill.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, let's see what we got tonight. But obviously, United are playing tonight as well, aren't they? They play Forest away.
It's not easy, They
got beat there last time, didn't they?
Yeah, Elanga popped off.
Yeah, that was a madness. So yeah, let's see who gets through. But we're in a good we're in a good spot, man. We're in a good spot. We just need to keep our injuries to a minimum. Obviously, all clubs need to keep their injuries to a minimum. We need to keep our injuries to a minimum. Hopefully Grealish isn't serious. We need him back, and then just win every game. I was speaking to Martin on the pre-game build-up yesterday, and it's sort of just like it's who sneezes first, man, in this title race. You know what I mean? It really is like we all just need to keep winning. Now Liverpool might have slightly more of an advantage in that sense, because obviously they're clear of us by a point. They're clear of Arsenal by 2 points, so they probably can afford bit more of a sneeze than everyone else, but like we can't really afford to drop points, and we're in a situation where we probably need to get a result at Anfield, man, which isn't an ideal scenario, but I think we can win at Anfield, bro. I really do.
If we are ever going to win at Anfield, it's got to be now, when they don't have Alisson and they don't have Trent. That is, we won't really get a better opportunity to do that, especially if outside of Grealish, basically all of our players are fully fit as well. We won't get that many better chances. Yeah, 100%. It's definitely a must not lose, that's for sure.
Oh, it's definitely not. It's definitely a must not lose. Right, we're going to wrap up in a second, guys. Before we do, make sure you smash a like on the stream. Let's get those. Let's get the likes up. 500 people. That's some good numbers in here today. Let's get those likes up to 250 likes, guys. Come on, we're not even at 250 likes. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Subscribe to the second channel as well. More LB. Video went up before I've done the prediction, for every City, Arsenal, Liverpool game now to the rest of the season, and we predicted who's going to win the league.
That's tasty.
So go and check it out, guys. The link is the pinned comment, or you can just go to More LB. That link is in the description. Make sure you are subscribed as well to the man Nobbins, where we try and do the LBIns after every game. You did a little breakdown before about the last night's performance, last night's game, so you guys can go check that out as well. Might go check. What else you got coming out on the channel, Bray?
So I might be doing one of my tactical analysis videos on the Luton game / the Bournemouth game, how we played slightly differently there. Can we expect to see more of it in the season? What are the pluses? What are the negatives? And also the role of Haaland and how that shifted in the past few games.
Yeah, interesting. Well, there you go, guys. LBIns episode done again. I'll be back tonight for the FA Cup draw and probably a live laugh along. We've not done a laugh along for a while, but I'm just like not feeling pray along. So laugh alongs, we will be there. United versus Forest. Let's see what goes on.
Excellent.
And it's all the build up for the game at the weekend. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video, the stream. Big up to Lee again for the raid earlier on. Smash a like on it. Subscribe if you're watching back on replay. Give us your comments down below. And I'll see you later on for the FA Cup draw. See you later.